Welcome to the Pump and Dump channel. Quick update on natural gas and CNX Resources and Antero Resources. So today I decided to close out my position in Antero Resources. I'll just show a quick snip. There we go. And I sold at 371 around the open. As you can see here, that was around here. Price rallied to 380. I was trying to get actually 380, but it opened lower and the value was lower than the price, so I decided to sell at 371 because that's what I got. It rallied, of course. I was proven wrong in the short term, but as you can see, it's just melting and rolling over. Now I can show how I performed overall on Antero Resources. It's a closed position. Let me do that again. You can see here, closed position, that's German. Antero Resources, the stock. Overall gain, I realized, is only 23 euros and 78 cents. So last week I was up like 200 or 300 around here at the highs, and I didn't realize the gain because my strategy, and I stuck to my strategy. This is the most important thing. My strategy was that I wanted to build a larger natural gas portfolio position, and I did so by buying Antero Resources, Gulfport Energy, EQT Corporation, Southwestern Energy, and I of course added to my CNX position. And as you can see, it over the this is kind of when I got in. I bought in, it kept going down, it got down to here. And I was looking at natural gas price. It was rising at that point in time. I expected it to continue to rise from this point here on last week. I thought this would be the bottom and we would continue higher, but we went lower. So at this point in time last week, I kind of had to admit I was wrong. And even though in the long term I thought maybe something could happen over the weekend, and we will see. I'm not really willing to give up on the trade at this point in time. So I sold from the 500 shares I had somewhere around here that I had accumulated. I sold 400 last week, and on the open today I sold the remaining 100 because the trade is not working as I expected based upon natural gas price. I also mentioned last week how the Q2 report was showing in Antero Resources that the liabilities were rising. They had lease and asset retirement obligations that were 3 billion or so that were not there in Q4 or year end last year, 2018. And the most important thing is their PV10, as you can see in this chart here, is based on something like a 360 or so dollar gas price, and we're at 250. So what I see is the assets are going down in value, the liabilities are going up. I'm very concerned about whether this still has a present value given those factors, especially like if you want to get a return, you need to use a discount rate, and with a discount rate it goes negative. So I'm not too keen on it. I wouldn't say yet it's insolvent, because for that to be insolvent at a discount rate of 0, the cash flows expected would have to be lower than the liabilities, and I don't think that they are there yet. I'm not sure. I'm not going to check. It doesn't really matter to me. So yeah, that's kind of where it's at. CNX Resources, you can see it was also down, but then it kind of went up. I didn't sell any CNX Resources because, as I mentioned, this is a less leveraged instrument, and Antero Resources is a leveraged instrument. So as I mentioned, I got into Antero Resources because I wanted a leveraged exposure to natural gas price going up. And it kind of worked, but when the natural gas price turns down like this, leverage works against you in terms of the valuation. So I got out of that. I'm staying with CNX Resources because I see the long-term value there, and we will see, of course, how it goes. So this is very important. I had to admit I was wrong about natural gas, and I had to just exit the trade. And overall, as you can see, because of course I was disciplined in some way of buying and selling around my core position. When the value was above the price, I bought. When the value was below the price, I sold. And that is kind of what has led to this little gain here rather than a loss. Of course, I could have bought anywhere around here, let's say when I first got in, a big position and then just be buy and hold, or buy, hold and hope. And then, I'll be down here, I'll be destroyed because the natural gas price is not performing as expected. If I just said, nope, the natural gas price is going to go up, the market is wrong taking it down here, then, if I'm sitting with that stubborn belief, then I'll get destroyed. And that's kind of what I avoided. So what can I say from here? We are at this point in time around this level here, where you can see these two technical support areas. The stock is trading on technicals more than on fundamentals still. You could see maybe some upside to 370, back up to 370, I don't know. But I'm not willing to take the gamble. I'm not going to participate in the short-term rebound. We will see, of course, in the longer term, if the natural gas price rises substantially, maybe it becomes another investable position. But as I mentioned, in the long term, I just don't see this performing too well. I feel much safer in CNX Resources, which is why I decided to just stay with that. So this kind of trade goes back to what I mentioned previously in one of my videos, is that when you are wrong, you have to make the right decision, you have to sell. And that's kind of where it's at. CNX Resources, I'm going to look again at it in a few minutes and see whether I want to add to my position or not. But as it is with everything in life, you have to listen to what Hulk Hogan said in the 90s in one of those movies he made. Sometimes you have to lose to win, and that's where it's at. And I decided to lose on Antero Resources my exposure and take the capital out, and we will see what happens now going forward. That's kind of all for today. Leave comments, subscribe, and that's basically all I have to say. Have a good day.